organizational behavior. In today's session, we will be talking about work stressors, prevention and management of stress, balancing work-life, and methods for implementing organizational change. Now, what are work stressors? Now, you all must have heard about the word stress. Many employees in the organization feel a lot of work stress, and that stress comes because of various reasons. Now, what are the different stressors or the reasons which creates stress in the organization? So, first of all, there are extra-organizational stressors. Now, extra-organizational stressors originate outside the organization and can affect the employees directly or indirectly. Further, individual organizations have little control over the causes. The fast-changing technological world changes the way the organizations work, and this change in the outside world will bring about stress in the work. We can take an example of the pandemic. Even that is a reason which is outside the organization, but that will create a stress in the work. So anything which happens outside in the world which affects the life of the employees in the organization will create a stress. The second type of stressors are organizational stressors. Now, these are structural stressors. Now, the organizational structure and design gives rise to various stress because it may impose little or no participation in decision making. It is the structure which is stringent and which doesn't allow the participation of employees, and that creates stress in the employees because employees are restricted. Second is procedural. Now, whenever there are stringent or very strict work policies and where there is a complete control on the work, how to do the work, when to do the work and what not to do, then such kinds of procedural constraints will create stress. Also, some organizational processes like performance evaluation or the way the superiors communicate with the subordinates or even the resource allocation, that may also lead to stressful life in the organization, because sometimes certain tasks may be given to the employees but enough resources are not provided, and that is why there is a stress. Next are the working conditions, which also contributes to the stress. Too much of noise in the surrounding, lack of open space in the organization, or too much of work on the computers or working for extended hours. All of these working conditions creates stress. And lastly, there are roles stresses. The role a person performs within the organization can involve conflicting or sometimes confusing or simply too many expectations from others, and that is why that creates a stress. So this is how stresses within the organization develop. Now let us talk about group stressors. Now, what are group stressors? Group stressors are those which are caused by the group dynamics and managerial behavior. Now, the group dynamics includes animosity between the group members, conflict with the co-workers and supervisors, or sometimes the unfair behavior by group members, or less cohesiveness and negative group climate. So, whenever the group dynamics are negative, then it creates a stress. Then there are individual stressors. Now, individual stressors are those stresses which comes from a person's own life. For example, there are changes in one's own life and career. When major changes in one's life comes into existence, it may create stress. For example, a fresher who is working in an organization after a few years gets married and has added responsibility at home. Now, this will also create a stress in the work. Again, career changes like transfers or demotion or maybe having a new job profile will also create stress. Stresses also create because of different personality type. Different people take different amount of stress. So personality characteristics such as authoritarianism, rigidity, sometimes masculinity, extroversion, supportiveness, spontaneity, emotionality, sensitivity, etc. will lead to stress. And lastly, the role characteristics. Now the factors like role ambiguity and role conflict demand an individual to go through difficult decisions, communication, and fear of failure. Now, role ambiguity leads to loss of direction, and so the individual may feel stressed out as she or he has to cope with uncertainty. So now let us see how to prevent and manage the stress. So first of all, in order to prevent and manage the stress, there has to be intervention. Someone must intervene into the situation. Now there are different types of intervention. First is the primary intervention. Now primary intervention is stressor directed and aims to help the individual manage personal perceptions of stress, elevate his or her personal work environment and maintain the work-life balance, thus attacking the origin of the stress. The second intervention is the secondary intervention, which is response directed and aims to help the individual regulate stress, induced energy, emotions and physical fitness, as stress comes from inability to cope up with the pressure. The third intervention is tertiary intervention, which is symptom directed and draws on treatment therapies and counseling. Interventions to restore health and function. All these include the tertiary prevention. So giving opportunities to employees to go through such kinds of counseling and therapies will help them to manage their stress. Now when we talk about stress, we understand one very important thing, that if there is a balance in work and life, then stress will be less. Now what are different factors which are important as far as balance of work life is concerned? So first is long hours. When there are long hours, then work-life balance is low. Secondly, over-demanding and inflexible work schedules. Third is pressure on family relationships. Fourth is unsocial working hours. That is, you may have to stay back till late night or something which is not social. Because of your work hours, you are not able to meet people outside. Then there are excessive travel time. People who need to keep on travel a lot in their organizations for their work purpose, they are not able to have a balance in their work and life. And lastly, work interfering with home or the personal life, like official calls, emails and text messages which are expected to be answered even after the working hours. So all these things disturbs the work-life balance and creates stress. So what are the steps that can be taken to create work-life balance in the lives of employees? So first of all, flexible leave policies will help in creating a work-life balance. Then there has to be engaging in the community. The organization must promote such activities where community engagement is there. Also, if a healthy work environment is promoted, then it will create a work-life balance. Managers must be trained to help their subordinates so that there is a work-life balance. Again, when flexible scheduling is given to employees, they will be able to create a balance in their life. Then, next, when a family or friendly work environment is created, then there is a balance in the life. Again, when change management is applied, then work-life balance is there. And when creative incentives are offered, like if a person achieves a certain goal, then a person is given certain reward, then a work-life balance is attained. Now what are the methods for implementing organizational change? Now organizational change is about the process of changing an organization's strategies, processes, procedures, technologies and culture, as well as the effect of such changes on the organization. No organization is stable in the ever-changing environment. The change in technologies due to new inventions have brought about a lot of changes in the workplaces. And in order to implement these organizational change, the managers will have to work very hard. Now, what are the different methods of implementing change in organization? Now, Kurt Lewin gave a 3-step model of managing change, that is unfreezing, bringing about the change and refreezing or freezing. Now unfreezing involves creating an environment where the desire to change is persuasive and motivates employees to move towards the new direction. It involves setting the stage to change by justifying the need to alter the old behaviors or processes or technologies. So unfreezing is kind of a process where the old ways needs to be forgotten and people should start thinking that there is a need to change. The second step is bringing about the change itself. So once an environment of change is created, the actual change begins, where the stakeholders like the employees and everyone who are related to the organization, they embrace the new way of working and learn the new attitudes, values, processes, technologies or behaviors which are required for this new change. So the activities involved in this stage focus on putting change into action. And lastly, there is refreezing or freezing. Now this stage signifies the act of stabilizing, solidifying and reinforcing the new system within the organization after the change. The system or organization through the adoption of new structure and habits is refrozen in a new state. So then now the new state is stabilized. So this is how change is implemented in organizations. Now there is another method which is called action research method of implementing change, which has 3 different steps. Number 1 is diagnosing the need for change, where you identify that there is a need to change. Here then an outside consultant in action research begins gathering the information about certain problems, concerns and needed changes from the members of the organization. The second one is introduction of an intervention. Now diagnosis is followed by analysis involving the employees and finding out what are the key problems and what are the possible actions. Here the action plan is decided, followed by implemented. And lastly, there is evaluation and stabilization of change. So the last step is the feedback step, where the effectiveness of action plan is evaluated and either some modifications are done or if successful, then the change is established. So I hope you have understood the concepts of stress, how to prevent and manage stress and how to bring about a change in the organization so that stress is reduced and work-life balance is increased. Thank you.